Seneca once said this, knowing that our real battles aren't fought outwardly, but in the silence of our minds. Has there ever been a moment when you looked at yourself in the mirror, not to fix your hair or shirt, but to ask a question too vulnerable to say out loud? Do I truly deserve respect? That moment when you feel you're doing so much, yet it doesn't reflect back at you. Everyone sees you as strong while you quietly doubt yourself. They laugh with you, but alone you hear the voice in your head whisper, "You're not enough." But wait, what if the problem isn't you? What if it's the measure, the way you were taught to evaluate yourself? Tying your worth to others' opinions, to fleeting moments of success or failure. In this video, I'll share keys, not from self-help books, but from men who walked through fire and stood unbroken. Philosophers who taught us to be masters of ourselves, not slaves to others' judgments. The Stoics, those who understood that the greatest victory is conquering the self. Before we begin, if you find yourself deeply reflecting on every word, if this video touches something inside you, hit like and subscribe. If you're ready to stop self-flagellation and start respecting yourself as you deserve, stay till the end. Choose consistency over image. Have you ever thought how much effort we waste just to appear a certain way? We curate words, outfits, highlight one side and hide another. We're experts at crafting impressions, but forget something simpler and deeper: alignment with ourselves. A man who lives consistently, even if unnoticed, carries a quiet dignity no camera can capture. Because consistency isn't about perfection, it's about truth. Saying what you believe, living what you say, not needing to remember lies because you simply never lied. The Stoic doesn't chase an image. They know images can be edited, filtered, forgotten. But what you do when no one's watching, when your principles are tested in silence, that remains. There's a peace money can't buy. You're unafraid of being exposed because you've hidden nothing. You don't fear the question, "Who are you?" because you're already living the answer. Choose consistency. Be honest in your motives. Speak as you think. Act as you speak. Images fade, but consistency builds an unshakable self-respect. Own your story without shame. How many spend their lives running from their story, hiding parts of it, ashamed of certain chapters, pretending they started at the top, always okay? But the truth? No one begins whole. No one walks through life unbroken. The Stoic feels no shame for their history. They don't escape the past. They observe it with calm eyes and say, "This is me, my mistakes, my falls, and also my comebacks." They don't rewrite their story to please others. They accept it because it made them who they are. Accepting your story doesn't mean loving every detail. It means respecting the journey. Understanding that every pain, every failure, every wrong turn was a lesson. It could have broken you, but it didn't. You're still here, listening, trying, thinking. That alone proves you're undefeated. Don't let anyone convince you your past diminishes you. Don't make yourself your own enemy. You're not your old version. You're the one who survived it, grew from it, and is now striving to be wiser. Reflect deeply. The flaw isn't having a complex story. It's denying it. When you reconcile with your history, you become free. You stop fearing others discovering your truth because you've already made peace with it. How beautiful is the person who walks with confidence, not because they're flawless, but because they no longer run from themselves. Live as if you're the person you admire. Think for a moment. Who's someone you admire? Perhaps someone calm, confident, who speaks sparingly. But when they do, hearts listen. Someone who doesn't shrink from responsibility, crumble under pressure, or change colors with the crowd. Someone who embodies what you wish to be, yet you keep a distance, telling yourself, I could never be like that. But why not? Why do we respect those far away yet undervalue ourselves? The Stoic doesn't wish to become someone else. They start acting as if they're already that person. To live as your admired self isn't about pretense. It's about drawing out the best in you. Stopping excuses, starting each day with one question. What if I were that person? How would I act? Change doesn't begin when you arrive, but when you dare to act as if you have. Master your inner dialogue like an emperor. Have you ever observed your thoughts instead of drowning in them? Sat in silence and listened to that voice in your head, the one that never rests. The voice that judges, fears, belittles you, sometimes whining, sometimes pretending strength. That voice decides the shape of your day. Most people don't live with themselves, they're hostages to this voice. But the Stoic never surrenders the reins. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire spanning half the world, began each day writing down his mind's chatter, then responding to it. He monitored his inner dialogue like a general overseeing troops, disciplined, calm, ruthless. He didn't believe every thought. He chose which to permit. If you don't master your inner dialogue, it will master you. It becomes a permanent judge, mocking your mistakes, seeding doubt in your successes, minimizing every effort. But when you learn to speak, not just listen, everything changes. Replace I'm not enough with I'm on my way. Shift from self-criticism to self-correction. Talk to yourself as a wise mentor would, not as an executioner to a prisoner. There's a real battle inside you daily, and you won't win it with muscles, but with words. Choose them carefully. They're not just sounds. They're destiny. Do what's hard, even if no one's watching. We're so conditioned to external pushes that we forget the power of choosing freely. The Stoic understands strength isn't doing something because you have to, but because you choose to, even when it's hard, even when you're alone. Waking up to train, not because someone ordered you, but because you promised yourself. Saying no to a fleeting desire, though no one's keeping score. Challenging yourself without an audience, reward, or applause. Every time you override weakness, you build an invisible muscle, dignity. And dignity isn't crafted with words, but with choices made when no one sees. Do what's hard, not because you're trapped, but because you're free. Your worth isn't tied to results. One of our deepest illusions is that worth is measured by outcomes, grades, income, achievements. But what if you strive and don't succeed? Does that erase your value? The Stoic doesn't see people as numbers. They know some win but betray themselves to get there, while others lose yet stand with honor. Your worth isn't built on what people see at the end, but on what they didn't see along the way. The nights you sat alone fighting your demons. The moments you could have cut corners but chose integrity. Stoic self-esteem isn't about success or failure, but sincerity. Being true to yourself even if you fall short. Be your own judge, not executioner. What's worse than a mistake? Hating yourself for it. Turning into a cruel executioner, treating yourself as an enemy, not a human learning. What if you were a judge instead? Fair, seeing the error, but not defining you by it. The Stoic doesn't pretend strength. They are strong when they're broken inside, standing up to say, yes, I erred, but I'm not the error. I'm the one who can learn, adjust, and continue. Most people fail not because of a mistake, but because of the self-hatred they plant afterward. Think, if a child falls while learning to walk, do you scream, "You're stupid," or smile and say, "Try again"? Why treat yourself any differently? The loudest applause is the one you give yourself. The problem begins when you tie your worth to external validation. When applause is your metric and silence feels like punishment. But no one truly understands the battles you fight daily. The Stoic doesn't wait for applause. They know. When they train early, read while exhausted, choose patience over rage, no one claps, but they applaud themselves. Well done, you did what's right, even unprompted. Real self-worth isn't given, it's built in silent daily choices. The forgiveness no one saw. The harsh words you didn't speak. The dignity you kept when no one was looking. That's how you build an unstealable self-respect. Not because you impressed anyone, but because you became someone you respect when alone. And that, my friend, is the greatest applause you'll ever receive.